Welcome to my house, enter freely and of your own will. He made no motions of stepping to meet me, but stood like a statue as though his gesture of welcome had fixed him into stone. The instant, however, that I had stepped over the threshold, he moved impulsively forward, and holding out his hand, grasped mine with a strength which made me wince. An effect which was not lessened by the fact that it seemed as cold as ice, more like the hand of a dead than a living man. Again he said, "Welcome to my house. Come freely, go safely, and leave something of the happiness you bring." The strength of the handshake was so much akin to that which I had noticed to the driver, whose face I had not seen, that for a moment I doubted if it were not the same person to whom I was speaking. So to make sure, I said interrogatively, "Count Dracula?" He bowed in a courtly way as he replied, "I am Dracula, and I bid you welcome, Mr. Harker, to my house. Come in, the night air is chill, and you must need to eat and rest." Gothic writing was popular in the 18th and 19th centuries. Gothic writers usually write their novels to create a sense of fear along with excitement and anguish for the reader. Gothic writing usually follows a pattern of plot, location, and character. In Bram Stoker's novel Dracula, many Gothic conventions are used in order to create the atmosphere of fear and suspense, which are essential in Gothic writing. A convention is an essential ingredient required in a particular sort of writing. In Dracula, the main Gothic conventions used are strange creatures, blood, weather, sinister buildings, and journeys and quests. In Stoker's Dracula, strange creatures are manifested in the form of mainly Count Dracula. The Count is a dark creature that is there to give a sense of fear. He achieves this sinister atmosphere by using the five senses. I especially noticed that he used the sense hearing. And on page 74, line 6 to 8, quote, "Then there was the sound of rattling chains and the clanking of massive bolts drawn back. A key was turned with the loud grunting noise of long disuse, and the great door swung back." The way Stoker used the sense hearing is very descriptive and powerful. It is so great that it feels like you actually can hear the sound of chains rattling through Harker's ear. And the sound of the key turning with a loud noise makes it very sinister. The way Stoker used senses as an ingredient makes the novel more three-dimensional instead of a flat descriptive novel. Also because horror affects people in different ways. Some people get scared by hearing scary sounds, and some get scared when they see supernatural characters. So in conclusion, I would say that Bram Stoker achieved this sinister atmosphere by mainly using the sense hearing, because sounds play a big role in horror. Like when you're watching a horror movie, it gets a little less scarier when you cover your ears. And also another simple way Stoker achieved the sinister atmosphere is by having his narrator, Jonathan Harker, keep telling us how scared he is and how scary the place is and how scary and cruel looking Count Dracula is. And the repetition of this idea builds up a picture of fear in the reader's eyes. I heard a heavy step approaching behind the great door. I'm all in a sea of wonders. I doubt, I fear, I think strange things which I dare not confess to my own soul. God keep me, if only for the sake of those dear to me. The light and warmth and the Count's courteous welcome seemed to have dissipated all my doubts and fears. The Count is described as this strong, cruel-looking, pale, unhuman-like person with sharp white teeth. Harker used the word strong repeatedly to describe the Count. Expressions like it may have been that his breath was rank, but a horrible feeling of nausea came over me, which do what I would, I could not conceal. These expressions like those are used to describe the Count. Basically, Harker only described the Count as this cruel-looking man who gives him the creeps. You can't really compare Dracula and Harker. They're two very different characters. Dracula is strong, fierce, and charismatic, while Harker is an ordinary human being who works as a solicitor. Dracula is an antagonist, and Harker is a protagonist. You can maybe compare Dracula and Harker when Dracula is powerless by daylight. Dracula's weakness and Harker's weakness. Dracula's powers are limited. He is powerless by daylight. Harker's weakness is that he is powerless compared to Dracula, and he is a victim that is trapped in Dracula's castle. So, Dracula's strength and Harker's strength. Dracula is stronger than 20 men. Dracula is in control of everything because his victims are trapped in his castle. He has the upper hand. Everything is done under Dracula's premise. Harker's strength must be his curiosity to discover the true nature of his captor and a strong will to escape. Harker fell asleep in a dusty room where the moonlight shines through. And for the condition, the position that the vampire assumes over Harker's body suggests a sexual act, and this display of female sexual aggression both attracts and repulses Harker. Harker was in this burning desire. It was as if he was under a spell created by those three women. Harker would have been dead if the Count didn't stop these three women from draining out his blood.